So what is a weather pattern? A weather pattern is a long-term behavior and characteristics of a weather condition in a particular region or across the globe. These weather patterns are determined by a combination of factors including atmospheric circulation patterns, ocean currents, and geographical features. How do we experience weather patterns? Well, weather patterns are caused by solar radiation, Earth's large ocean, diverse landscape, and motion in space. The changes in these factors lead us to experience different weather patterns in a year or within a certain time frame. If you wish to know more about the El Niño and La Niña weather pattern, watch the rest of the video.
El Niño is a climate phenomenon characterized by warmer than average sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean. The underlying causes of El Niño are complex and involve interactions between the ocean and the atmosphere. Generally, during a normal state, trade winds blow from east to west across the tropical Pacific, pushing warm surface water towards the western Pacific. This results in cooler ocean temperatures in the eastern Pacific near South Africa. El Niño events typically occur regularly every 2 to 7 years and can last from several months to a couple of years. They are most commonly observed around the end of the calendar year, hence the name El Niño, which means the Christ child in Spanish, referring to the time of occurrence around Christmas.
During the 2010 and 2011 La Niña event, the Philippines experienced above-average rainfall, which led to an increased risk of flooding and landslides in various parts of the country. One of the most notable events during this period was Typhoon Maggie, known as Juan in the Philippines, which landfall in northern Philippines in October 2010, which caused thousands of damages and deaths. In the case of the Philippines, in the La Niña event that occurred in 2016 to 2017 had several impacts on the country. Some effects included increased rainfall, landslides and floodings, agricultural impact, destruction of infrastructures and transportation, and water supply issues. Increased rainfall led to widespread flooding. In mountainous areas, landslide is also a concerning matter. Destruction of infrastructures and disturbance in transportation are also included. Damaged crops such as rice is an agricultural impact due to the reduction of yields affecting food production. The La Niña conditions were first observed in the latter part of 2020 and continued into early 2021. The Philippines experienced above normal rainfall, which led to a higher frequency of typhoons. This also resulted to other weather-related hazards across the country. The northern and central regions of the Philippines were particularly affected by the La Niña-induced rainfall. These weather disturbances caused widespread flooding, infrastructure damage, and displacement of communities. The agricultural sector also felt the effects of La Niña, with some crops being adversely affected by excessive rainfall, leading to reduced harvests and losses for farmers. And that is all for our La Niña events in the Philippines.
La Niña events have significant impacts on weather patterns and can affect various regions around the world. Here are 3 notable La Niña events that have occurred internationally. (2010–2011) La Niña. This La Nina event began in mid-2010 and continued into early 2011. It was one of the strongest La Nina episodes on record. This event brought significant impacts, such as heavy rainfall and flooding in Australia, particularly in Queensland, causing widespread damage and loss of life. 2017 to 2018 La Nina. This La Nina event occurred from late 2017 to early 2018. It was a weak to moderate event, resulting in cooler oceanic temperatures in the equatorial Pacific. The impacts varied across different regions, including increased rainfall in parts of South Africa and Southeast Asia, as well as drier conditions in the southwestern United States. 2020 to 2021 La Nina. This event began in late 2020 and continued into early 2021. It was considered a moderate to strong La Nina event, characterized by cooler than average sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific. This La Nina led to various impacts, such as increased rainfall in some regions, droughts in others, and altered temperature patterns globally.
Now, allow me to present the three most devastating El Nino events that the Philippines has encountered in its history. These occurrences brought about significant challenges and adverse impacts on the country. The third on our list is the El Nino of 2015-2016. In 2015-2016, the Philippines experienced a prolonged dry El Nino period that lasted for 18 months. This had a significant impact on the country, affecting about a third of the nation. As a result, 6 cities, 16 provinces, and 65 municipalities declared a state of calamity. The agricultural sector was particularly affected, with crop failures and decreased yields leading to food shortages and increased prices of staple crops. Farmers faced economic hardships and had to implement measures such as crop diversification and water conservation. The drought directly affected over 400,000 farmers and 550,000 hectares of agricultural land by May 2016. The second on the list is the El Nino event in 1997-1998. The El Nino event of 1997-1998 had a profound impact on the Philippines as well. It affected 74,000 hectares of agricultural lands in 18 provinces across the country. Major crops like rice, corn, and sugar were severely affected, resulting in food shortages and significant economic losses for farmers. Tragically, more than 74 people lost their lives and nearly 500,000 agricultural families experienced hunger due to the drought. The El Nino also contributed to health issues, including waterborne diseases and respiratory problems caused by dust and air pollution. Last on the list is the El Nino that occurred in 1982-1983. This event was the prolonged drought that affected 450,000 hectares of farmland across multiple regions including Central Luzon, Southern Tagalog, and northern part of the Visayas and Western Mindanao. Reduced rainfall and dry conditions led to water scarcity, impacting both agricultural irrigation and domestic water supply. Communities faced difficulties, and the agricultural sector suffered severe consequences. The El Nino-related drought had a devastating effects on these regions.
Here are some El Nino events that have happened over the years, and these are international cases. The El Nino event of 1997 to 1998 was one of the most powerful and influential El Nino episodes recorded in modern history. The El Nino of 1997 to 1998 had global climate impacts, including affecting the weather patterns and climate conditions around the world. Some of the major impacts include widespread droughts. Many regions, including parts of Southeast Asia, Australia, parts of Africa experience severe droughts as a result of suppressed rainfall patterns. Impacts like crop failures, food shortages, water scarcity, and damage to infrastructure and property led to economic losses amounting to billions of dollars. The event also resulted in the displacement of communities and increased vulnerability of many affected regions. Another El Nino case is the El Nino of 2015 to 2016. It was also one of the strongest El Nino events on record, rivaling the intensity of 1997 to 1998. Flooding and storms. Conversely, other areas faced heavy rainfall and increased storm activity. South America, including Peru and Ecuador, witnessed extreme flooding and landslides. California and parts of southern United States experienced intense rainfall and storm. Another impact led by the 2015 to 2016 El Nino is droughts and fires. Regions like Southeast Asia, Brazil, and Southern Africa experienced severe droughts leading to water shortages and crop failures. In Indonesia, the drought conditions contributed to widespread forest fires and release of significant greenhouse gas emissions. The El Nino of 1982 to 1983 is considered one of the strongest El Nino events on record. Many impacts led by this El Nino, including droughts and heat waves. Australia, for instance, faced its worst droughts in a century, leading to extensive agricultural losses and wildfires. Parts of Africa, Asia, and Americas also experienced drought conditions. Flooding and heavy rainfall. Some areas encountered increased rainfall and flooding. Peru, in particular, witnessed intense precipitation and devastating flooding, causing widespread damage and loss of life. The El Nino of 1982 to 1983 had substantial economic and humanitarian impacts. Crop failures, food shortages, water scarcity, and damage to infrastructure resulted in significant economic losses and humanitarian crises of affected regions.
Now that you know what the La Nina and El Nino seasons are, here are what to do and what to prepare. During the La Nina season, it is important to always prepare an umbrella whenever you are going out. It is also advised that you bring caps, raincoats, boots to protect yourself from the rainy weather. During this season, we must stay indoors in order to avoid getting sick outside and make sure that we are well protected from the rain. During the El Nino season, we must always prepare portable electric fans to battle the heat as well as staying hydrated throughout the day. We must also use sunscreen to avoid sunburn and use umbrellas and caps when under the scorching heat of the sun. During this season, we must also stay indoors to avoid heat stroke, or if the house is too hot, you can go ahead and cool yourself off at the beach or stay somewhere cool enough to fight the heat.